and Vladimir was at home at that moment. After he woke up in the morning and remembered everything, he was scared. Where did she go dressed like that? He asked himself in the mirror. He left the apartment and walked up the steps across the yard, but Snezana was nowhere to be found. Vova called those friends he knew, but they did not see her either. What to do? He did not understand. Vova was afraid to call Snezana's parents. He didn't know how to tell them that their daughter was missing, and he didn't know how they would react to his behavior. He calmly went to work. They did not know about his diagnosis yet. Closer to lunch, his colleagues came to him. They sat together in the office and chatted about nothing. And the next day, a vagrant came to the department. He introduced himself as Semyon and asked who could be contacted about the missing person. Vladimir took him to his office. Semyon began to tell him something about the girl they had picked up near the dumpster. Of course, he didn't tell him what they wanted to do with her, but he told him that she was unconscious and he had taken her to the hospital. Vladimir immediately realized that Semyon was talking about his wife only because she was wearing underpants and a jacket. He took a statement, said that measures would be taken, and after Semyon left the office, Vova simply tore and threw the paper into the trash. The man thought that sooner or later he too would have to file a missing wife report. Her parents or someone else would be looking for her. He realized that she led such a dissolute lifestyle and could at any time leave him and go in an unknown direction, so he didn't feel too bad about it. "Guys, I want to make a statement," he said to his colleagues when they were alone. "About what?" They were surprised. "My wife is missing," he told them honestly. Missing how? The men didn't understand. "Well, you know Snezana. She was always out, looking for some unknown friends. Yes, it happened that she didn't come for a day or two or more, but she had never reported anything at all," he said in a calm voice. "Calm down. If it happened often, she'll come back. She'll come back. Where will she go?" His colleagues calmed him down. Vladimir calmed down a little. He realized that they believed him. Snezana spent all this time in the hospital. She was given some drips, injections, and pills, but nothing helped. Her head was still hurting. After a few weeks, she was moved to another ward, where she was not alone, but with several other people. "What's your name?" one girl asked her. Snezana saw that all her hands were cut, and she realized that she had been transferred to a ward, most likely to those who were suicidal and crazy. "I don't know," she replied. "So what? You can make up a new name for yourself. Imagine, it's like you've just been born and you start a new life. Everything that was in the past is in the past," she advised her. "And what is your name?" Snezana asked her. "My name is Ira," said the girl. All day long, Snezana just sat by the window and looked at it. The doctor advised her to read books, look out the window, talk to people, look through newspapers, and maybe something would come to mind. Semyon visited her. He had nothing to bring, but he could give her a kind word of encouragement. "Listen, and you can go to the place where you found me. Suddenly, if you tell, someone will remember me or recognize me," she told him. "Okay, I'll try," he said. If at first he was interested in how the girl felt and come to her in the hospital, then he realized that he did not need it. For some reason, the case about her search did not move from the place, although he told what hospital she was in and what had happened to her. And then Semyon decided to do nothing more for her. Only sometimes, when she was walking outside, he came to the fence and looked at her. "Well, how are you doing?" The doctor came into the room. "Nothing." Snezana looked at him. "Have you thought of a name for yourself?" he asked her. "No," she answered him. "Well, my dear, if you behave like this, you will never recover, and you will never remember anything. I see you have not even opened the books I gave you." He went to the bedside table and saw that they were still there as he had put them there. "I don't need to do that, as your patient Ira said, as if I had just been born and had a new life. Maybe I don't want to remember what happened to me. That's what she said." "Okay, as you know, but we can't keep you here for long. Here is the phone number of rehabilitation centers. You can call there. I'll write you a referral and a discharge." He put a piece of paper on the table where the numbers were written. "Thank you," she told him, and the doctor left the room. The girl didn't know whether or not to call the numbers the doctor had given her. She decided to make the call on the very first one. If she was refused there, she would not call anywhere else. "Hello," she spoke into the receiver. She was also answered with a greeting. "I would like to come to you for rehabilitation," said Snezana. When asked what had happened to her, she said she would come and bring all the documents with her. The center was small and she was accepted, but now the girl lived in a completely different place at the very end of the city. Semyon, who came to see her in the hospital, did not understand where the one he had saved had disappeared. He decided to talk to the doctor, who immediately recognized him. He smelled him and turned away. "I told you not to come here like that again," the man in the white coat said to him. "Excuse me, I just wanted to know where that girl was," he asked. "We put her in a rehabilitation center. She is there now. If you need the address, I can give it to you." The doctor turned to his desk, took a business card from it, and gave it to the strange man. Semyon needed to find the girl. He remembered something very important. He got to the end of the city by various means of transportation. Buses wouldn't let him on, and he didn't have money for a cab. Finally, he was there. "Snezana," he shouted to her. She turned, only because she recognized his voice. "Was that you again?" she asked him. "Yes, I am," he told her. "We met recently with my companions who were there when we discovered you, and one of them remembered that on that certificate where it was written about your illness. The name Snezana was written, though he doesn't remember the surname, but it was an unusual name. He remembered it at once." "Snezana," she said as if she had tasted the name. "You don't remember," was looking at her man. No, she tried to remember something, but her mind was empty. How can it be? There must be some clue. For some reason, Semyon began to worry about her again. "I don't know, and I don't want to know." Snezana didn't want to talk to him. "Well, at least now you have a name," he said. "You know, I can say that I'm fine. Leave me alone," said Snezana, and suddenly, in her head, as if something flashed, but she did not have time to catch the thought. "And you know what else is strange? When I was at your hospital, the doctor advised me to go to the police, to tell them that I'd found you and you'd lost your memory. I did so, but for some reason, nothing got any further," he shared with her. "I see," Snezana said to Semyon. He left, and the girl stood and thought that he was right. She got at least a name. She entered her room. She had no feelings. She was neither good nor bad. She just wanted to remember something from her past. "I had parents, probably a husband. What about children?" She looked at herself in the mirror and talked to herself. Vladimir, meanwhile, was packing his things from the department, from the center where he took tests and reported to work about his diagnosis. When the boss found out about it, he immediately asked him to write a report on his own accord. Vladimir was so angry with Snezana that he was ready to kill her if he met her. And why I only then contacted her, he could not understand. He knew that under the law, if the wife does not return within 6 months, she can be recognized as dead or missing, and then you can safely draw up a divorce. He was only counting the days when this time would pass. Semyon decided to finish the job and came to the station again. "Hello, I already came to you to apply," but for some reason, he did not give it a go, he said to the one who sat on the watch. "And to whom did you apply?" The officer on duty asked him. "I don't know, they sent me to office 12, Semyon said. The man looked at him, thumbed through the documents, found nothing, and the visitor smelled so bad that he sent him away. Semyon went into the same office, but another man was sitting behind the desk. He explained to him everything that he had explained downstairs and was offered a seat. When Semyon began to tell why he had come here, and that he had already been here, applied, he described everything as it was. The one who was sitting at the table on the other side of the table almost had his eyes popping out of his orbits. So you had already filed a report about it? The officer asked him. Yes, Semyon nodded his head. And to whom? He asked again. I already explained. Another man was sitting in that office, Semyon repeated. Was his name Vladimir? The policeman asked him. Yes, I think it was Vladimir, the visitor told him. So I see, you said the girl's name was Snezhana. The police officer asked again. Yes, Snezhana. Semyon nodded his head again. You won't believe it, but this is the wife of the very policeman to whom you applied. The representative of the law began to speak. How can this be? And why he didn't come for her? She is now in a rehabilitation center. She has lost her memory. She doesn't know her name or anything else. And she can't remember anything. The medication doesn't help. And I'll tell you even more. The employee said to him, she is from a very good family here. After that, he rummaged around in the closet. I'll write down the address for you. The man scribbled the address on the paper and handed it to a man who smelled very bad. So you're not going to do anything? He asked. We will, but not about Snezhana, but about her husband, he promised him. Semyon left the department. He had to somehow get to another city. But how to do it, he did not know at all, so he went back to the office he had just been in. What, did you want something else? The policeman asked him. Could you give me some money for a ticket to that city? He asked. Yes, here, take this. He handed him a bill. It's enough for the train. Vladimir's former colleague was afraid that he would just take the money and drink it. Semyon took the money and left the office. He immediately went to the station. His feet hurt because he was wearing shoes that were already falling apart. He did not know why he felt sorry for this girl. In the train, he had to ride in the vestibule because the passengers and the conductors were very scolding about the smell and the look of the man. Finally, he got to where he needed to go, and when he realized that he still had to overcome several kilometers to get to the village where Snezhana's parents lived, he simply became exhausted. Semyon sat down right on the curb, decided that today he would not get there, and postponed this matter for tomorrow. Get up. He'd heard someone's voice in the morning. Semyon, as usual, in the park on a bench. Yes, sorry, I'm getting up. He sat down. Come with us. Two young men in uniform stood in front of him. You see, here's the thing, the vagrant began to say. We know your business, said the guys, and we're going to take him by the hands. Why do you need me? I haven't been drinking. I haven't done anything wrong, the man began to beg. But they didn't care what he had to say. Listen to me. Semyon raised his voice. Oh, this smells like resistance, said one of the guys. There's no resistance, and he quickly began to ramble on about why he'd come here. Okay, if it's true, we'll let you go, but we need to check everything out. They pushed Semyon into the car and drove off. He gave them the right address and was glad that he wouldn't have to walk. They found the house quickly and stopped at the gate. It was early morning, so the police doubted that anyone would open it. Andrei, look, a police car came to us, Lisa said to her husband. I told you that your daughter would not leave us alone so easily, her husband said in response. What are you starting again? Maybe something happened to her. The woman cried for the second time. Why are you stirring up water again? He couldn't stand it anymore, even though he loved his wife very much. Will you come out, or shall I open the door? The woman asked. Let's go together. He realized that he was overreacting. They went to the gate when the bell had not yet rung. Hello, the woman came out and greeted the guests. We have such a case here. The guys took a homeless man out of the car. Who is it? We don't know him, said Andrei. Listen to me, Semyon asked them. I don't want to hear anything, and I don't give alms, Andrei answered him sharply. He has come to tell you something about your daughter, said one of those who had brought him here. Oh, has she already contacted them? The man looked at the policeman questioningly. No, he says she's in some kind of trouble. One of the guys pointed his finger at him. And what do you want to tell us? Elizaveta stood in his defense. Snezhana is in the hospital. She's lost her memory. Semyon quickly put in while there was time to say something. What happened to her? The mother was horrified. You see, it's a long story. Just tell them that you have a daughter, Snezana, because they do not believe me, asked the tramp. All right, let him go, we'll listen to him. Andrei relented. It hurt him to look at Lisa. When the car left, they led Semyon into the house, but there, beyond the threshold, Andrew did not let him in. Tell me, did she put you up to it, so that you would come to us, and we would give you money? He said sarcastically. No, why would I come here? I didn't understand why they were talking about their daughter like that. Let him tell everything himself, Lisa asked her husband. Okay, we're listening, nodded Andrei, and then Semyon started from the beginning. He told this story more than once. That's how it all turned out, he finished. And why are we still here? Elizabeth turned to Andrew. Let's go. Okay, he agreed. The story was indeed strange.